I have 6 yards of African print here, 1 yard of this plain pink cotton fabric. I have my boning, I have the readymade boning and also the plastic boning. Also, I'll be making use of a bra cup. This is a push-up bra cup and this is what I'll be using for this corset dress. I am starting with the front pattern. I have the shoulder line, the bust line, the under bust line and the waistline. Shoulder to the bust line is 11.5 inches, to the under bust line is 15 inches and to the waistline is 18 inches. From the shoulder line, I'll go ahead and mark the chest line. To get your chest line, divide your bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5 inches to it. I have marked my chest line and I'll connect it into a straight line. The next thing I'll be doing is to mark the shoulder measurements divided by 2. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line. Now from the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and connect with a straight line to the chest line. The next step is to mark a neck width of 3 inches. After marking the neck width of 3 inches, I'll connect with a straight line to the shoulder slope. On the chest line, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4. I'll mark that and I'll connect my armhole. The next step is to go in with the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. I'll mark it on the chest line and the waistline and connect into a straight line. Next, from the chest line, I'll mark ½ inch and also mark the same ½ inch on the under bust line and I'll connect it into a straight line. This ½ inch is going to determine how wide the distance in between the two cups will be. That means by the time we'll open it up, the distance in between the two cups is going to be 1 inch. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4. But in this case, because we are making a corset, if your waist measurement is 30, deduct at least 3 inches from that 30. That means if you take out 3 inches from the 30, you will have 27. Now you are going to divide that 27 by 4 and mark whatever you get on the waistline. After marking the waist measurements, I'll connect to the top with a curved ruler. From the bust line, I'll go up by 1 inch and come down by 1 inch. I'll label the first one 1, at the bust point 2, and at the bottom there 3. This 1 to 3 points will determine the point where we are going to put the bra cup. If you don't want your cleavage to show, you can use the first point. If you want to show maybe a little, you can use the second point, and if you really want to show a lot of cleavage, you can use the third point. For this project, I'll be making use of the bust point, that is the number 2, which is on the bust line. That is where I'm going to place the bra cup. And I'll come in with my marker and mark around the cup like you see me doing. After marking around the cup, I will extend from the side of the cup to the side of the pattern. That is all on the front pattern. This paper I'm using here is folded into 2. I'll trace out everything I have on this front pattern into the other side of the paper, which will serve as the back pattern. So I'll trace out everything I have here so that it can reflect on the other side of the paper. After tracing out, I'll mark what I traced out and I'll show you guys what I have for the back. This is the back pattern and it is exactly what I have on the front pattern minus the cup because the back will not have a cup. I've labeled the lines I have here and the point where the cup ended in the front pattern, you are going to connect that into a straight line for the back because that is where the back pattern will start from. Exactly the point where the cup part ended in the front part, make a line on the back also. It will serve as the neckline for the back. So now from the center, I'll come down by ½ inch and connect it back into the neckline, just the way you see me marking it. For this back pattern, there won't be zip on it. We are going to make use of loops for the back. So at the top there at the neckline, I'll come in by 2.5 and at the bottom, I'll go in by 2 inches and I'll connect the 2 points together with my ruler. That is all on the back pattern. I'll cut it out now. These are the two patterns for both the front and the back. And you can see that our cup fits in perfectly into the space we have on the front pattern. Label all your pattern in a way that you will understand so that you don't get confused by the time you transfer to fabric. To form the basque effect in front of the dress, I'm going to add glue to my pattern paper at the bottom of the pattern paper and place it on another piece of paper like you see me doing. After making sure that the pattern aligns well with the new paper, from the waistline I'm going to come down to 4.5 inches. And from that point, I'm going to connect with a straight line to the waistline. And this will be the front part now. The next step is to cut out the pattern that will serve as the lining and the main fabric for the cup. My paper is folded into two, and now you're going to fold your cup into two and make sure that the folded part of the cup aligns with the folded part of the paper. Once you are done making sure of that, come in with your marker and mark round the cup. This is what I have after marking. I'm just going to use my marker to smoothen the upper part of the cup, and I'm going to label the cup part so that I don't get confused by the time I transfer to fabric. After labeling, I'll cut it out. This is what I have as the cup lining, and this is what we are going to transfer to fabric. I have transferred the back pattern to fabric. I added ½ inch at the top, ½ inch at the center back, 1 inch at the bottom, and 1 inch at the side. I have 2 pieces for the main fabric and 2 pieces for the lining, and I added interfacing to all the back pieces, both the main fabric and also the lining. Moving on to the front pattern now, I added ½ inch allowance to the top, 1 inch by the side and 1 inch at the bottom. I'm going to take out the pattern now so that we can see what we have. So I added interfacing to the main fabric and I also added interfacing to the lining piece. I have also transferred the cup to fabric and I added ½ inch allowance all around the pattern. Just add your ½ inch allowance all around the pattern, and I have 8 pieces in total for the cup, 4 for the main fabric and 4 for the lining pieces. I'm using the same Ankara print as my lining. You can decide to use a lining instead of using the same Ankara piece for your lining, but for this project I used the Ankara fabric for the lining also. So I have 8 pieces in total, 4 pieces for the main fabric and 4 pieces for the lining. The first step is to go ahead and start joining all the cup pieces. I've placed 2 together right side facing each other, and I'll take it to the sewing machine and join with ½ inch. I'll do the same thing for the rest of the cup pieces. So just go ahead and place it on each other right side facing and stitch with ½ inch. Don't forget to add interfacing to all your cup pieces, both the main fabric and the lining. I added interfacing to all my pieces. This is the last piece for the cup, and I will take it all to the sewing machine and join it together. This is after I was done joining the cup pieces. This one you are seeing right here is the part that will serve as the lining. These 2 here will serve as my lining for the cup. While the main cup, I have already used my hemming gum to press the cup parts to the main fabric. I have pressed the cup together with the main fabric with the use of hemming gum. So you can just insert hemming gum in between the cup and the fabric and press it nicely. Make sure not to flatten the cup in the process of pressing. Let the cup maintain its actual shape. This is my front part, and I have stitched the bone channels on the fabric. I have 5 channels for the boning, and I have inserted the Reggae boning to it. I will also be inserting the plastic boning, so I'll be doing double boning in each of the casing. The next step is to fix the cup in the space where the cup is supposed to be. So I'll just go ahead and fix the cup with ½ inch all around. I'll do the same thing for the lining also. I'll fix the cup all around the space for the cup with 1/2 inch. This is after I was done fixing the cup. This is the main fabric. You can see what we have. Now for the lining piece, you can also see what we have for the lining. The next step is to place the lining on the main fabric, right side facing each other, and go ahead and stitch around the neckline all the way from one end to the other end. Stitch with 1/2 inch. After stitching, go ahead and press it properly. You can see mine. This is after I was done stitching and I have pressed it properly, and this is what we have. The next step is to work on the lower part of the dress. The lower part of the dress is a basic skirt and I have cut out mine. I have turned it with the lining and this is what we have. The first step on the lower part is to get the midpoint. From the midpoint, I'll come down to 4.5 inches and make a mark there. And I'll connect that line into a straight line from the top to the 4.5 inches mark. Now I am going to place the upper part on it. Make sure that on the waistline it overlaps with the waistline of the skirt with about 1/2 inch. Once you are sure it overlaps on it, you are going to mark that Basque line you have on the upper part. Mark it on the skirt part like you see me doing. Once you are done marking, you are going to cut it out. But while cutting, leave a space of 1/2 inch at the top while cutting. Don't cut on the line you marked. Go ahead and notch the center point on the skirt and also notch the center point on the upper part. This will make it easy for you when you're about to stitch. So now you're going to start stitching from the center point all the way to the other end, and you start from the center point again to the other end. Stitch with 1/2 inch. There is nothing much on the back pieces. Add your bone channels to the back pieces and turn it with the lining. I have done mine here, and for the lower part also, it is just a basic skirt. Add your zipper to the back. I have added mine, and then what I want you to take note on the back is that while joining, from the center point, leave a space of about 1.5 to 2 inches. Remember that we cut out 2 inches from the waistline when we were drafting the back pattern. For the upper part, we cut out 2 inches away from the waistline, so you are going to leave that space on the skirt part, but I would advise that you only leave about 1.5 inches before joining the upper part to the lower part. You can see mine. This is mine after joining, and this is what I have. The next step is to join both the front and the back together along the side. I'll place it together right side facing, and I'll take it to the sewing machine and join the side from the top all the way to the end of the dress, and I'll repeat the same process on the other side. After joining the sides together, please take it to the ironing table and press it properly. Here I have fixed my highlights on the back. I fixed 4 on each side, and I have also stitched the rope for the lacing. So just cut out a long piece of fabric and stitch it into the rope for the lacing of the back. The last step is to fix this design along the basque area up onto, I think, the hip line. So you're just going to make pleats on your fabric. Cut out a long piece of fabric. The width depends on where you want the pleats to get to on the dress. So just cut it out, cut out a long piece and make pleats on it. Once you're done making pleats, you're going to stitch it along the center and along the side. Lastly, for this cape-like design on the dress, you are going to add interfacing to whatever fabric you want to use. The measurement here is 8 inches and for the length is about 34 inches. So depending on how big your client wants it to be, you can determine that on your own. But the main part is that you are going to add boning on both sides of the fabric and at the center to give you that standing effect. This is ready now, and I'm just going to stitch it on the dress. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell, the bell icon down below, so that you'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.